I get so worked up for this. This is the core of competition right here. This is so much better. I'm sorry. It's so much better than version 17 mock draft. Brock Purdy showed up today, and I don't think people understand exactly why he showed up. He is an elite competitor, and he has not reached, clearly, Joe Montana, Steve Young. Don't even say it, guy. But there's something about the path that those guys took to greatness that Brock Purdy shares. And I think it's so easy to forget when somebody has accomplished so much. Nobody ever understands, why does Tom Brady cry when he talks about being drafted in the 6th round? And it's easy to forget how Steve Young and Joe Montana think of themselves. Joe Montana went to Notre Dame. Big deal. In Joe Montana's mind, what was he? The 7th quarterback on the freshman depth chart. After 4 years of work, Joe Montana worked his way to 3rd on the Notre Dame depth chart. Joe Montana had what Steve Young had. 2 things they shared, and it's what made their relationship so complicated, understandably. Extreme confidence, and a lot of greats have this, and an insecurity of understanding how you got there. It was by taking every little sliver, every crack in the door, and taking somebody else's rep and somebody else's opportunity and making it yours. Steve Young was even further down the BYU depth chart than Joe Montana was. Steve Young was 8th on the depth chart at BYU. Have you ever heard him talk about it? Go read his book. It's been out for a while. It's very good. Still holds up. He got drafted number 1 in the supplemental draft. But being 8th on the depth chart, and these guys were not at some podunk universities either, BYU, Notre Dame, they're a big deal. But being 8th on the depth chart and working your way up from that, that's who he was. That's who he was. And that's who Joe was. And it's why Joe didn't want to give Steve a rep. And it's why Steve felt like, if I can just take a rep, I can prove who I am. And so now we got Brock Purdy, who showed up to OTA, who showed up to camp phase 1, not even on the field yet. Why? Oh, because that's just who he is. He's a good dude. Yeah, yes, he is a leader. And he is a good dude. Not showing up doesn't make you a bad dude, though. But he's also a guy who was the last pick of the draft, the 262nd pick. When he showed up, ahead of him on the depth chart was number 3 overall pick in Trey Lance and a guy that the Niners had previously paid like the franchise quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. And it wasn't week 9 that he proved he had something. It was in rookie minicamp. It was in the fall. It was in practice. He earned a rep and then another rep and then another rep. So yeah, he's a good dude. And yeah, he's acting in good faith and he wants to get something done and he's a leader and all that. But at the end of the day, he's also a guy who knows what it means to leave the door cracked open just a little bit. And it's not just anybody who would be in the locker room filling that quarterback leadership void if Brock wasn't there. It's not just anybody who'd get to be in the quarterback meeting room with Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy's chair is empty. It's not just anybody. It's the guy that Kyle Shanahan wanted to draft in the 1st round in 2021. It's Mac Jones. Nobody with that combination of elite belief and that natural insecurity would leave the door open for Mac Jones unless they were blind. Brock Purdy hasn't been paid yet. Oh, he's going to get paid. Franchise quarterback hasn't been paid yet. He's still on that rookie deal, getting paid like the last pick of the draft, which he was. And he's supposed to just hang back at home while Mac Jones sidles around the 49ers team facility? Hell no. So everybody, John Lynch said it, he's such a good, that's who Brock is. It's true. It's true. And also, not but, and also, he's not a dummy. He knows how he got here. I know it sounds crazy. Like, I don't think Mac Jones is about to replace Brock Purdy if Brock missed a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That's not, you and I understand that's not what would be about to happen. But nobody who's accomplished what he's accomplished the way he's accomplished it is going to cede an inch. You don't give up an inch, especially before anything's happened. You haven't been paid yet. He's still the guy that's out there proving it. So good for him. I don't know what that means for the next year or 5 years or 10 years or if he'll ever win a Super Bowl with the Niners. But that is an elite level of just competitiveness it's a prerequisite for maybe becoming that type of franchise quarterback. And he gets paid, and 3 years from now, maybe he doesn't show up when it's time for another contract. But today, he ain't that guy. Oh, God, you're thinking too. That's how these guys think if they're an elite competitor. I mean, did you hear John Lynch today talking about that? This was not a quarterback comment, but I thought this was very interesting.
And ultimately, decisions have to be made, but we really have heard everyone used a word, consensus. Consensus is something we look for. When we have consensus throughout our organization and alignment, we do really, really well in the draft. We have our R&D guys look at that as they look at so many things, and so consensus is a big part of it, and I think it's a big part of the successes we've had. And when we've maybe tailed off from not having consensus is maybe when we've made some of our things we wish we could have back. So it's something we strive for.
He can't say that. He cannot make that comment. That the research and development part of the 49ers organization has researched all their drafts. And when they have consensus, they do well. And when they don't have consensus, they don't do well. He can't make that comment if they had consensus on Trey Lance. Like, you can't say that if the biggest pick you made failed and you had consensus on that pick. You can't generalize that way. They didn't. He is saying we did not have consensus on that pick. Now, he's not just singling out that pick, but he is saying that. He's telling us right there, we didn't have consensus on the Trey Lance pick. 2021. Do you remember that? I missed Kyle Shanahan today. He wasn't there. So I went back and watched 2021. Do you remember that pre-draft press conference? Kyle was just like pissed off for getting criticized for liking Mac Jones, and he wasn't even going to take Mac Jones. Maybe at that point he's still thinking about it, but they were taking Trey Lance. It was an incredible press conference, and I'll play some of it because it was so insightful, and people still misunderstand what Kyle was saying. What Kyle was saying in that press conference was, you guys want Trey Lance, you guys want Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, great. But there aren't many of those guys. I just want a good quarterback. I'm going to play some of this now. It is, Kyle Shanahan is really does give a lot of insight. So does Lynch, because they both have trouble lying. There's always hints. And for me, this is my favorite. I think it's my favorite Shanahan presser was the pre-draft 2021 press conference. And he just dropped.
I think the whole thing of the success of people like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, Deshaun, Lamar, like those guys are unbelievable, and they can play the position, and they're obviously very, very talented and running around and doing stuff. But those are those guys. You got to look into a lot of people. There's lots of different ways you can do it. I don't look at it as in trends of the league. I look at it as there's some special players. There's special people. I don't care when Drew Brees comes out, whether it's 30 years from now, 30 years ago, or today. Drew's gonna be pretty good. So is Phillip Rivers. So are all these guys. So is Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. They would have been good 40 years ago also. Really good. They're going to be good 40 years in the future. You got to take guys you believe are good enough to do it, whatever way that is. Like, there's lots of ways to do it, and people are proving that more and more. Man, a lot of people are getting trained in offense in different ways, and so you got much better athletes who are also learning how to play the quarterback position. So, man, you want to find Drew Brees who can move like Lamar Jackson. Like and Mahomes, he's maybe in the middle, like whatever. I'm just not being exact, but like there's no guys, this is where it's going, this is where it's been. It'll always evolve. And that's why sometimes the wildcat will be good, sometimes it won't. Sometimes no huddle will be good, sometimes it won't. Sometimes zone defense will be good, sometimes it won't. Sometimes a 3-4 will, sometimes a 4-3. That doesn't it matters on how you group people together, what your choices are, and how you plan on using that person. I believe there's 5 quarterbacks who can be successful in this draft. Like, what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? You're not going to use them all the same way, and that's okay. You can use them all in different ways, and people, I bet, would be surprised with a lot of those opinions, stuff you can't totally give. But like, to make this so black and white it's not right. It's who's the best quarterback and why. And there's lots of different ways, and whatever those whys are, how does that pertain to your offense, what you have, the building you have, and do you think that gives you the best chance to win? And that's what was so exciting about this year. I do see 5 guys. No one's ever a slam dunk. When we look at the history of this league, but you see 5 guys capable of being a starting quarterback, and I do. And I see them all a little bit differently, and you got to decide which way you want to employ that. And it goes off of studying what they've shown on tape, which is all you have to go off of. And if you don't do it there, then you got to go off really the person and talking to them and what you think you could bring to the table. And I know it's a long answer, but there will never be a exact answer to that. Quarterbacks can come whatever way you want them to. It's just like receivers. But there aren't 32 people in this world who can play quarterback at acceptable level for a fan base, for a coaching staff, for a GM. There's not. And so when you find a guy who can play at that level, however it is, then you compare him to the next guy and see which one you get one more.
There was a lot there. I thought the quote at the end, there aren't 32 people in this world that can play quarterback at an acceptable level, is an all-time quote. I think it's one of his great quotes. It's true. We talk about it all the time when we rank quarterbacks. There's 32 starting quarterbacks, but there aren't really 32 starting quarterbacks. But people misinterpret what he was saying there. They did it then, and I said it then, and I've been saying it every year since. He wasn't saying you need Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. You heard what he said about Drew Brees. I took it at the time, and remember when everyone criticizes all the media folks that were saying it, Mac Jones is the pick. He liked Mac Jones. He thought Mac Jones, and he's saying there, what it turns out he was saying was, I'm not taking Mac Jones, but it's not because I don't think Mac Jones can be good. It was interesting today. The other thing John Lynch said, I didn't pull the clip, was he talked about how he didn't play when he was young in his career because his position coach later admitted to him, I didn't want to draft you. And so you need to have this understanding between the front office and the coaching staff. The coaching staff has to also value the player if the player is going to succeed under that coach. Hint, 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 hint. What are we talking about here? Talking about quarterback here, right? I don't think John was trying to make that connection between him and Trey Lance. He's not here to talk about Trey Lance, but he's making the point very clear. Okay, so that's the guy that's walking into the locker room, that's walking into the meeting room, that's walking around the facility in slides, just acting like a quarterback if Brock doesn't show up. So Brock showed up. Because why? It's not time to give an inch yet. It's not time to crack the door open yet. There's still a lot to prove. Here's the other thing. He's not getting hurt today. They're not on the field next week. So that also makes it a little easier. It's interesting that John Lynch said that's who Brock is. He doesn't listen to what, everyone's saying he should do, which is that a comment about is the agent saying, Brock, don't go. And Brock's like, I'm going. It's my job on the line here, bro. So again, do I think if Brock didn't show up for a month that Mac Jones would suddenly become the 49ers quarterback? Of course not. Not even close. Not even close. But just understand, the guy in the building, it's not Josh Dobbs. It's not Peyton Thorne. It's the guy the coach wanted to draft 4 years ago. And I'm the guy, this is Brock talking, I'm the guy who slips through the door that somebody else leaves open. I'm not the guy that leaves the door cracked for the next guy.